Okay, so I'm here to further develop my theory that I created, I guess, but created poorly. Alright, yeah, keep that on 20. Last night. So let's just load up my save. Oop. Oh, how'd I get here? Ah. So, my theory is that, as you know, this is Solomon. My theory is that he figured out he's in a video game and used to be part of the Council of Sages, and everybody in the Council of Sages has been guided by the angel before. The angel is able to give the power to people to use magic outside of battle. And that power gives the ability to open the door to exit the haven. That's how we see Verity do it, is because she's being guided by the angel. That's how Solomon's able to do it, is because he used to be guided by an angel. Now, not many of them know about the angel and everything. As he says when you ask about the angel, it says it's mysterious, nobody knows its true nature, and the Council of Sages know little. This is probably because he himself doesn't know much about it. He elaborated on it and says they know as much as he just elaborated. But that's all he himself knows. That's because nobody, even if you're guided by the angel, nobody truly understands it. When you play through the game, the first demo, you can tell that when Verity's getting guided by the angel. She says things such as, I don't know why, but I know I can. Such as when opening the door to exit the haven. She knows that she's able to, but she doesn't know how. That there is the angel. That's the angel. Which makes sense, yeah? But that's also showing us that nobody, even when they're being guided by the angel, understands it. So, that goes deeper into why he himself doesn't know much about it either. Now, asking about, not the angel, magic, he talks about how all individuals possess it. Nothing, too important right now, but he mentions how, they're unable to access it except when in a crisis state. Now, this crisis state, I feel, for Verity, is when Glitchless takes over. It mentions how the angel starts guiding someone in a crisis state, and that's the crisis state. It's the Glitchless. When they take over her town, the angel knew it was happening, so they started guiding Verity so that Verity could have, guidance, I guess? Yeah, that makes... yeah, so Verity could save her, the haven, and save possibly the world. Because I'm pretty sure it mentions somewhere where she has the power to save the world. In one of the teaser trailers. Very well then, return when you wish to continue. Something mentioned that I didn't go upon in the other video is in the options, the angel is called you. That seems very crucial to understanding this, as my theory all along has been that the angel is you. But I have not yet to explain why I think this. So, I probably should have had this pulled up beforehand. I'm going to hop on to GameJolt really quick. I'm going to hop onto the guidance page itself. And let me explain why I feel this way. Once you see what I'm talking about, I feel like it will make more sense. Also, that guy made a pretty nice drawing. So, alright, good. I am recording. For a second there, it didn't look like I was recording. I got a little worried. So, followers. I should just probably hop to my profile. Me, Luke. This is how I always get there, by the way. It's the fastest way. Guidance. Cool. So now we're here. So when we check out the game description, The haven is lost, reality is broken at the seams. An angel guides you to fix it. What is the truth? Instantly here, we have explanation of what the crisis is. You lose the haven, and reality is breaking. Reality breaking has something to do with glitchless, but I don't know what it has to do with the glitchless. However, that almost proves it right there. An angel guides you to fix it. We already know that Verity's getting guided by players. Now right here. This is what makes me feel like the angel is you. Guidance is a uniquely meta. Meta, if you don't understand, for video games, which you probably should, it means it's very, almost fourth wall breaky, in a way. Well, that's what I get out of it, at least. And after playing it some, it does feel like it breaks the fourth wall to a degree. Especially with the whole scene with Solomon right now. So, players guide Verity and her friends to seal the gateways to the unseen plane and save reality from failing. Player's guide. Right there. It doesn't say the angel guides like it does up here. Now it says player's guide. Instantly, that makes you think, okay, so we're guiding her. When you first read that, you wouldn't think anything of it. You'd be like, yeah, player's guide, that's just another way of saying that's who you play as. But the word guide has such significant meaning in the game that it has to mean this as well, right? It's like in Undertale, when somebody says very, very interesting, or darker, darker, yet darker. That means Gaster, right? So that's what I pull from that. So, if you're just curious, because I probably should have gone into detail about this before, that is why I feel like the angel is in fact the player. That was my reasoning before. This just further proves it, with the character actually being called, whatchamacallit. Sorry, I have to hop the window capture, I forgot. Boop. Okay, so, continuing this. Again, we try to talk about glitchless. He tells us it's not our question to ask, which is kind of annoying, because as we already know, that's the crisis of what's going on right now, which means it's kind of the driving thing we need to know to prove a lot of stuff. We know the angel guides in a crisis situation, as it said before when we asked about the angel. So, if we could just get proof that the glitchless is in fact what the crisis is, because by the way, it feels obvious, but you can never know, and it's better to have proof than nothing. So, it would be very reassuring if I could get if we could get, as a community, more information about glitchless. About you. Me, you wish to know about me. There's really not much I can tell you, aside from this. Let's just say, I knew a little too much. What an interesting line. That drives the whole theory home. And let me explain how. I'm going to, again, hop back to Game Jolt. Right here. Boop. Pulling up my messages now. With Iron. I'm pretty sure it's Malaki. He left a comment on one of my videos explaining how to pronounce it, I think, but I didn't read too much into it. We scroll up a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean just about all the way up to when I was streaming yesterday. Solve something massive. However, I can't help you at all. Finish your playthrough first. No help from me. Yeah, so this is where he was solving the whole thing. He was gonna help me with it, but then I kind of just solved the whole thing on stream as well. It wasn't too difficult though. I really hope that the puzzles themselves get more difficult, because I'd love to take this whole game more serious. I plan to go more in depth about this at the end of the video. I was thinking about it. I think I should probably do some explaining about that. But for now, let's finish the theory. So, Iron Malaki, he was going through the not scrapped level, sorry. He was going through the files, and he found out that the angel's called you. And he started to realize as well, along with my theory, that the angel is us, right? But then he brings up a pretty good point. The fact he has a computer. Now, I already knew that the main reason this computer was here, as I'm pretty sure he knew as well, is to prove that he was the one who contacted, at the end of the game, sent the code to Verity. However, the fact that he has internet access, which we know by the fact he has a YouTube channel and a GameJolt account, that he has access to the internet, right here. Has access to the internet, we already know this, right? However, what really made me start to think this theory through was when he mentioned Solomon Follower 1 and 2 in the files. Let's not, sorry about that. So, how did this drive me home? Well, it's kind of interesting to me, the fact that he has followers, almost as if Gaster does in Undertale. So, knowing that this game has a lot of inspiration from Undertale and some from Deltarune, by proven from the scrapped level, it really makes me start to wonder if maybe the lore here isn't a little bit like Undertale's as well. Now, by the way, almost none of it relates to Undertale. Sure, it talks about reality being broken and stuff like that. It barely connects with how Undertale lore works. But what's interesting is Solomon followers and we have Gaster followers. Gaster followers are people who still believe that Gaster's there and know that he can travel through time and space. I think Solomon followers, to a degree, believe Solomon at what he says, but not that he can travel through time and space and whatever. I believe what truly happened was that Solomon got access to the internet, because as we already know, in the beginning of the first demo of the game, Verity runs into a poster in her room. If I hop onto the page right here, I'm glad I found this poster from outside the Haven. I wonder if I'll ever get to play the game it's for. As you can see, the heart and the souls around it, it's Undertale. It's an Undertale reference. This in itself proves that Guidance has connections to what our world has. So my thought is, Solomon got access to the internet and found out about the game Guidance. So now, he's trying to get us, the player, to communicate with him. And us, as the player, he knows we guide Verity, so he also knows we are the angel. And that's how there's not much to be known about us. It's because the angel, to a degree, isn't actually in the game. It's outside of the game. It's us. That's how you don't know much about the angel. So knowing this, he finds out that he's a game, and tries to tell the people on the Council of Sages. But none of them believe him. Which, sure, that makes perfect sense. If I was told that I was living in a game, I wouldn't believe it. Also right here, kind of interesting, see you tomorrow, S. I kind of instantly, when I saw the S, thought Solomon, but... Oh, I haven't watched this yet. I kind of tried my best to avoid... sorry. I tried my best to avoid many spoilers, so I did a pretty good job about that. And I'm still trying my best to not get spoilers to the game. However, stopping being sidetracked, so he found out the game was Guidance was what they were in. He tried to tell the Council of Sages, but none of them believed him. So, he was outcasted from it, and a few people, he was outcasted from it, but a few people believed him. Those are his followers. And you might be thinking, well, just because there's files of them doesn't mean they're real. But Iron Malaki actually was able to find in the files, which something that isn't in the actual game, right here, these are what the Solomon follower sprite looks like. And it looks decently similar to, well, of course, all the characters look decently similar. But what's weird is how their main body looks very similar to what you could call what Glitchless looks like. Glitchless's body, I'm just going to scroll for a little bit, is like almost a pure singular color. It's completely white, and it's very easy to tell them out from anyone really else in the game. So, sorry, I'm almost there. Download the demo for free, so it's going to be like just a little bit more down. So right here we have Solomon. And if I go a little farther, we should get an image of Glitchless. I just want to find an image of Glitchless. One city. Alright. I just kind of found this when I was scrolling. This is cool. We now have an image of, in the final game. Once the final game is out, we will know exactly what this city looks like. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for this here. When I get the full game or the half of the game. Whichever one comes out, because I heard that Luke's probably making a demo of just half the game in a month or two. This is very interesting. Keep an eye out for this in the town. Right here, Glitchless. This is what the Glitchless body looks like. It's purely white with their eyes like this and a smile. Now let's compare it to the Glitchless image up here. Purely white, but the difference is they don't look as if they're hooded. I wouldn't call this guy hooded, but he looks a bit masked around the eyes. My thought here is, this is one of the one of the Solomon followers. I feel like all the Glitchless are Solomon followers. I believe they're trying to take over this so-called reality to try to get the player, us, to realize something's wrong with the game. We already tell from the beginning of the game, there's a few very glitchy moments, per se. When we get close to the door with Solomon, when he opens the door, our angel literally, just for a second, almost comes out of her body. And the same happens when we seal the crack in reality. This, I feel, is caused by Solomon and his followers, and they're trying to get the angel out of Verity's body so they themselves can get it or communicate with it. And that is the theory. Why do they want to communicate with it? Well, good question. But at the same time, if you knew as a person that your whole society was in a video game, your whole world was in a video game, but there is a way to communicate with somebody who is outside of this video game, you'd probably want to as well. And I feel like that's very important. And if you want to get technical, we already have proof of Solomon attempting to do this and getting pretty far with it in the game. Because we ourselves, I think I'll just continue from the beginning of the game, just to show. We head all the way up to the dump, go input the password, but right now we are Verity. But once we're inputted the password, it's no longer Verity, it's the angel. It's us. I don't know how he gets the angel out of Verity here, but whatever it is, it must be very important to him, and it must be very important to lore-wise, because I feel like Solomon is going to be doing this a lot more in the future to communicate with us, the player, and not Verity. Because, to be fair, yes, he does, to a degree, communicate with Verity through the computer. So, obviously, he wants, to a degree, to communicate with Verity. But I feel like his main goal is to communicate with the angel. So, anyway, that's the basis of my theory. Solomon used to be part of the Council of Sages, found out about the game guidance, and tried to warn people that they were in a video game, but none of them believed him, except for a select few, called Solomon followers. They then started trying to take over the game's reality in hopes of communicating with us, the player ourselves, to get more out of their life and maybe get out of the game. I'm unsure why they want to communicate with us. if I were in a situation where I knew I was in a game, I'd try to be getting out of it. I'd try to be breaking out of the game. But Solomon doesn't seem to have those intentions. He seems to want to do something in this world, knowing that it's a game. But I'm unsure what he wants to do, so that's for next time. I hope this better explained my theory, this video. It definitely still has a lot of rambling in it. I can't really help that. Seeming how... Wait, I can... Okay. I didn't know that you could click on the status for this, so I was a little scared. Our agility and luck is 32. That's interesting. That's, like, really high, right? Something else to keep in mind. So, yeah, I'm unsure why any of, why he wants to break out of this video. Wait, what? I almost beat the level. I'm also gonna mess around with this scrap level for a little bit outside of the recording. I want to try to see if it's possible to actually get like dialogue at the end of it when she runs away. It's probably just gonna be like, oh, how'd you do that? Oh, shucks, retreat, something like that. However, we'll see. I think you have to reload it if you want to. Anyway, I know there was a lot of rambling in this video. I hope you can understand, and I hope that you understand a bit more about my perspective on lore in this game. And see ya. That's all. Bye.